Hi guys, this is Rakhi Jha. Welcome back to my channel. I'm going to be doing resin coasters with you guys today, and I must tell you this is a voiceover. I did not record my instructions while I was doing the coasters because I wasn't sure how it would turn out. But now that I feel confident that it's turned out pretty good, I'm thinking of putting this on YouTube as I've got a few requests from followers. So what I'm doing over here is I've already mixed my resin, art resin. I get a resin called epoch resin in India, and what I do is I follow the instructions. It is a resin that is to be mixed by volume, by weight, sorry, not by volume, as you would do in some of the resins. So I've already mixed that, and I've used about 300 grams of ready the mix together with the hardener, and I'm adding colors to that currently right now as the video progresses. You will notice that I'm adding very little color. So these colors come for resin itself. It's like a liquid, it comes in a liquid form. And I'm adding very, very little colors because my idea here is to make it a bit transparent. I don't want that very sort of opaque look for the coasters. So I'm adding very little color, and I did not have any gold, so I'm adding just acrylic gold, acrylic paint, normal, but very little of it. If you add too much, what it would do is it would condense the resin too much. So as you guys can see that I'm adding a little bit more of the acrylic gold because I feel that the color is a bit too light and too transparent, so I wanted to deepen the color a little bit more. But I'm a little afraid of adding too much, so that's why I'm adding little bit by little bit and just testing it out to see, to make sure that the resin doesn't harden, because too much acrylic paint can harden the resin pretty quickly. So one thing I forgot to mention was that I'm using 3 types of blue, darker to lighter. I'm using a white, I'm using a gold, and I'm also using some clear resin. I've kept that a little bit aside because I'm going to try to do something with that as well. So here I've started pouring. And I am literally just doing a puddle pour, like you would do in an acrylic painting. I'm pouring one color, and then I'm adding the other color right in the middle that pushes out the previous color, and I just keep layering as we progress. So this is this aqua green, sort of aqua blue green color. That's a lovely color, I must say. Now some parts didn't, obviously there's not enough resin, and some of the mold sizes are bigger. So I had to go in with the darker and sort of spread that around the edges because I did want that little bit of a darker edge. And these molds, I literally got off Amazon. They're silicone molds. Resin doesn't stick to it. It's great to work with. And also, what happens is that it is an organic shape. So even if your colors are not exactly symmetrical or does not spread out evenly, it still looks good because it sort of lends to the design, I think, of the shape of the coaster. So you can see me adding more colors where I felt the resin wasn't moving enough. So I'm going back with the darker color, and I'm adding a little bit, not as much as I did before, but a little bit more to the centers of each mold. Then with the medium blue, this, it's you experiment with. This was my experiment. This is the first time I'm making coasters. I just went with the flow. Whatever looked good, I kept adding and I kept changing, and just doing my thing and, having fun with it. So now I think this is the part where I think a little bit of creativity comes, is where I am adding clear resin in the center. I don't know what came over me and what I thought of, but I felt that maybe it would, because I was going for a more transparent look, I felt it would give me that transparency a bit more, while it pushed out the more solid colors. And actually it created these lovely veins as it pushed out the solid colors. And I really like that effect. So I did that, and then I added a bit more white because I hadn't reached the depth of the coaster that I wanted, because at the end I'm going to add the gold. So I'm continuing to add some white and finishing up my resin. Like I said, 300 grams of resin was enough for these 5 coasters, and I think they were about ½ an inch depth of each. So I'm adding some gold now, and this gold also is a little bit of a transparent sort of a gold. Now I'm adding another layer of the clear resin because I love that effect that it did with the white. So I thought that maybe I could get a little bit of golden veins as well in the center. So I'm doing that. I'm repeating that little trick. And so finally I'm doing the last bit with the gold, and I did get lovely veins in the center. So if you're going for that kind of a look, I would say go for it. Play with it, add a little bit of clear also in between, and just, test it out. So now I'm just using the blowtorch to pop whatever bubbles I can see. I find resin very tricky and I always miss a bubble here or there. But what I do is I go over it once, pop whatever I can see, and then I let it sit for a little while. And then maybe in another 5-10 minutes, I go over it again. So this is the close-up. Immediately after I finished pouring. And you can see those veins and that little sort of a lacing effect that the clear resin, I think, did when it pushed out the more solid colors. And let me tell you one more thing, that the white sort of, I felt, it settled down, it was sinking more than the other colors, which also I think lent to the beauty of this. So now I'm just going to cover it with a box, keep my fingers crossed, and wait for it to dry. So this is the next morning where I'm demolding these coasters, and they pop out like so easy, no problem at all. It didn't stick to the mold. The mold was great. Even the back of the coasters, I was very curious to see what happens at the back, and they came out pretty good. They actually came out pretty much like the front. So that's it. These are just some pictures to help you guys see more clearly the details of it. And thank you for watching, and hope to see you in the next video. Please subscribe, please like. Bye.